TripuraSundari. TripuraSundari. The beauty of the three worlds. The beauty of the three worlds. The beauty of the three worlds. Whose eyes are like freshly blooming lotus, who is dark like an autumn rain cloud. We take refuge in the wife of Lord Shiva, the three-eyed one, the three-eyed one, the TripuraSundari, the goddess of beauty of the three worlds, the goddess of beauty of the three worlds, who dwells in a forest of bliss, whose ornaments glisten with gold, who wears a great pearl necklace, whose mouth rolls with wine, who is the giver of great compassion, who is the giver of great compassion, who has wide eyes and wanders free. We take refuge in the wife of the three-eyed one. We take refuge in the wife of the three-eyed one, the TripuraSundari, the goddess of the beauty of the three worlds, the beauty of pure perception, the beauty of pure perception. The feminine nature is synonymous with beauty. Examining the cosmic manifestations, we see that the female represents the divine in form, while the male represents the formless divine. Yet what is beauty? And where does this highest beauty lie? Tantra asks us to search for the source of beauty. And like the English poet Keats says, that beauty is truth, and truth is beauty. It says that the highest beauty is not on the outside, but on the inside. External beauty can only reflect for a moment a greater internal beauty, which transcends all forms. Sundari literally means beauty. Beauty. To acknowledge her is to follow the path of beauty and delight through the world of nature into the absolute. TripuraSundari, the beauty of the three worlds. Normally we think of beauty as some perfection or harmony of form and symmetry of appearance, like a beautiful woman or a beautiful flower. Yet, however beautiful anything may appear to be, if we look deeply, we can always find in it some flaw or imperfection. And whatever form of beauty there is must pass away, very often quick enough. Form may appear to possess beauty, but beauty is always more than any form. True beauty is eternal, and merely reflected onto the changing forms of things. Sundari is not the ordinary beauty of form, which is more properly an aspect of Kamala. The highest beauty does not lie in any object, though it is not apart from objects. The highest beauty is of perception, to hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour, as the poet Blake so eloquently wrote. To hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Beauty derives from the light of consciousness that is irradiated through objects. It is never really contained in any object. Hence, beauty can never pass away, but merely has manifold forms for its revelation. The light of beauty we see in things is thus the light of our own awareness. Discovering this, we contact the well springs of infinite delight within us. This is part of the revelation of Sundari. This is part of the revelation of Sundari. The beauty of perception occurs only when the mind is cleansed from the known, when consciousness is cleared of its conditioning and rests in pure awareness without any residue or memory. The beauty of perception occurs only when the mind is cleansed from the known, when consciousness is itself cleared of its conditioning and rests in pure awareness without any residue of memory. Wow, 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 wow. Then whatever we see is irradiated with the light of eternity, and is effulgent with the glory of our own self as the universal being. Then whatever we see is irradiated with the light of eternity and is effulgent with the glory of our own self as the universal being. Otherwise, the residue of our thoughts and emotions, like a dark film, obstructs the subtle and transparent beauty and presence in things, though we may be able to perceive clearly their physical characteristics. Sundari represents the ultimate beauty of pure perception, which arises when we see all the universe in ourselves. When we see all nature as a reflection of the reality of consciousness. When we see all nature as a reflection of the reality of consciousness. Sundari is thus the beauty of nature, but as seen through the spiritual eye of unity, the vision that all the universe is Brahman, that there is nothing but God above, below, within, without, to the north, south, east or west, past, present, or future. Yeah, bitch. The vision that all the universe is Brahman and that there is nothing but God above, below, within, without, to the north, south, east or west, past, present, future. This is not to perceive some distant creator beyond, but the revelation of our own eternal and infinite self in every moment of perception. When the mind is permeated with such unlimited awareness, it finds a plenary delight in everything that we see. It finds perception to be joy. Even if we are looking at the most ordinary things, freed of the concepts of time and space, size, distance, and importance. Each perception reveals the eternal presence and becomes a universe in itself. The mind thereby is stopped and enters samadhi, or the blissful state. The goddess of Vedantic knowledge. Sundari thus is the goddess of Vedantic knowledge, which is the knowledge of the Supreme Self or Divine I Am. She teaches us that all is the Self, and that the world is Brahman, or the Absolute. From her perspective, samsara is nirvana. The world of illusion is merged into the Absolute. Hence, she is the form of the goddess most beloved among Vedantic swamis and teachers. Sundara, or Sundari, she represents the knowledge of the Supreme Self. She represents the knowledge of the Supreme Self, of the Supreme Self. Tripura, the three cities. Tripura, the three cities. Sundari is called Tripura. Sundari is called Tripura, or of the three cities. Pura means cities. Tri means three. The three cities are the three worlds and are three bodies from which we experience them. The physical, astral, and causal, or matter, energy, thought. Sundari is called Tripura, or of the three cities. Pura means cities, Tri means three. The three cities are the three worlds and are three bodies through which we experience them. The physical, astral, and causal, or matter, energy, and thought. Matter, energy, and thought. These correspond to the three states of consciousness: waking, dream, and deep sleep. They are symbolized by the three lights of fire, moon, and sun. They are symbolized by the three lights of fire, moon, and sun. The being who delights in these three world experiences, yet inherently transcends them, is TripuraSundari. Her first city is the waking state, wherein our consciousness dwells in the eye, the senses. Wherein our consciousness dwells in the eye, the senses. Her second city, the dream state, which occurs in the throat chakra, wherein our consciousness dwells in the mind, wherein our consciousness dwells in the mind. Her third city is deep sleep, which occurs in the heart, wherein our consciousness returns to its true nature. As the ruler of these three, Sundari is the mystic fourth, the state of Turiya, or Samadhi. Samadhi. The ruler of these three, Sundara, is the fourth, is the mystic fourth, the state of Turiya. Lalita. She who plays. Sundari is called Lalita, or she who plays. The entire universe exists for the delight or awareness, which is the play of the Divine Mother. Creation arises in joy, abides in joy, and returns to joy. Creation arises in joy, abides in joy, and returns to joy. We are but transient figures in her eternal play, who have yet to understand the source of energy that moves us. Our sorrow and suffering is a delusion, a misconception, born of ignorance and the ego. Our sorrow and suffering is a delusion, a misconception born of ignorance and the ego, because we attempt to control or possess joy from the standpoint of the separate self. We divide ourselves from true joy, which is universal. The goddess, as the image of joy, shows us the way out of our error, which is not to deny ourselves happiness, but to discover the true happiness that we seek. Which is in being one with all. Lalita awakens the receptive soul to the bliss that underlies all things. Lalita is the deity of the Sri Chakra, the great yantra of energy pattern which underlies the entire universe, which arises from the mantra Om. Lalita is the deity of the Sri chakra, the great yantra or energy pattern which underlies the entire universe, which arises from the mantra Om. She is the most blissful and beautiful of all the goddesses. As she represents ultimate bliss at the source of all delight. As she represents the ultimate bliss at the source of all delight. She is the deity who dwells at the summit of Mount Meru, the cosmic mountain or mountain of the spine, and gives the orders whereby the entire universe moves. She is the divine love, which is the central motivating force behind the universe, and which is the original impulse within our own hearts. Lalita, she who plays, 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 she who plays Sundari, Lalita, among the 10 wisdom goddesses. She who plays, she who plays, she who plays, who plays, she who plays. I said she, Lalita, Sundari, the supreme ruler of the universe. Rajeshwari. Sundari is also called Rajeshwari. Rajeshwari. You can also refer to Miss Sundari as Rajeshwari. And don't abbreviate it either. Don't try to give her no nickname, shorten it. Don't be trying to shorten Rajeshwari. All right? Say the whole name every time. Rajeshwari. Man, well, you gotta bark that name. You can't even say that. You have to bark it. Rajeshwari. Or supreme ruler of the universe. From her arise all the commands which govern the universe. Rajeshwari. Or supreme ruler of the universe. From her arise all the commands which govern the universe. Including the command which allows us to unfold spiritually or to give spiritual teachings in the world. Yes. Rajeshwari, the supreme ruler of the universe. Rajeshwari. From her arise all the commands which govern the universe, including the command which allows us to unfold spiritually or to give spiritual teachings in the world. We must seek her command to do anything significant in life. Order to do anything significant in life. Her command is not based on authority, but love. Her command is not based on authority, but love. You understand? Rajeshwari. Sundari. Lalita, the playful one. Yet her command is not based on authority, but love. To gain her approval, we merely need to be open to her love. To gain her approval, we merely need to be open to her love. What she allows us to do is to love her and to love everything and to love everything and to love everything and to love everything. To discover her commands, however, we must be willing to surrender our own egoistic desires and attempts to control things. Beauty and bliss is the fundamental energy of existence, and play is the nature of all manifestation. Knowing this, we can easily free ourselves from attachment and find happiness and delight in whatever life may bring us. This insight is part of the knowledge of Sundari. This insight is part of the knowledge of Sundari. Sundari as a young girl. Oh, Sundari as a young girl. Yeah, no, not the Divine Mother either yet. When she was still a budding flower Lalita. The young girl Sundari. TripuraSundari is often represented as a young girl of 16 years of age. Sweet 16 Sundari is a young grizzy grail. Little baby Raja Vera. As such, she is called 16. She is even called 16. Shodasi. Or the young girl Bala. At this stage of a woman's life, the delight aspect of her existence is most pronounced. At this stage of a young woman's life, the delight aspect of her existence is most pronounced. Her nature is to play, to seek new experience, and to charm others to her. Her innocence attracts to her all that is true and good. Her innocence attracts to her all that is true and good. As a young girl, Sundari guides the young aspirant on the path, representing the innocence of initial aspiration that we should preserve throughout our entire journeying into the infinite. The innocence of initial aspiration. Sundari as knowledge and consciousness. Sundari is the power of consciousness, Sit Shakti. She is the awareness of the Supreme Self, Paramatman, as one with the Supreme Reality or Absolute, as one with the Supreme Reality or Absolute, Parabrahman. As true knowledge, she is called Samvit, which is the power to comprehend all things as consciousness itself. Sundari is thus the spiritual knowledge, Jnana Shakti, which is more a matter of feeling and perception than of thought and analysis. She is thus the power of spiritual knowledge, Jnana Shakti, which is more a matter of feeling and perception than of thought and analysis. Hence, she is the form of the goddess most to be appreciated, most to be embraced by those following the yoga of knowledge. She is the form of the goddess who most represents pure consciousness and the bliss that flows from it. She combines the being of Kali with the knowledge of Tara and adds the bliss dimension of spiritual realization. The bliss dimension of spiritual realization. Soma and the moon. Soma and the moon. Soma and the moon. Soma and the moon. Sundari represents the moon as the visible image of the light. This nectar of the moon, or the mind intoxicated by divine beauty, is Soma in the Vedas. Sundari is the experience of the flowing Soma, or nectar bliss. In this regard, she represents the delight of divine self as he consumes our minds, moon, and digests all experiences as pure joy. Sundari is the experience of the flowing soma as nectar bliss. This nectar of the moon or the mind intoxicated by divine beauty. By divine beauty is called soma in the Vedas. Location in the body. Location in the body. Sundari is the deity of the crown chakra, or thousand-petaled lotus, the abode of the immortal nectar, Amrit. By her grace, the nectar descends and comes to pervade the entire body until we find the entire universe dwelling within it. By her grace, the nectar descends and comes to pervade the entire body until we find the entire universe dwelling within it. Meditation form. Sundari has the complexion of the rising sun and wears a crescent moon on her crown, which is sometimes figured as made up of her own matted hair. She has 4 arms and carries in 2 hands a sugar cane bow and 5 flower arrows, and in the other 2, a noose and a hook. She is often portrayed as naked, yet with all adornments, bracelets, amulets, anklets, earrings, rings, and necklaces. Yes, indeed. With all adornments, butt ass naked with no clothes but mad jewelry on though, like, ooh, like, I am beautiful. Nigga, this is my fashion. My very body is my fashion. I'm so beautiful. All I need is a bracelet to throw on. Fuck clothes, nigga. Look at these arms, nigga. Check out this complexion right here. What you mean pattern, nigga? My pattern tapestry is my complexion. Don't you see my dimensions? I'm Sundari. What you mean is Raja Rajafari right now. What? She's often portrayed as naked, yet with all adornments. Bracelets, amulets, anklets, earrings, rings, and necklaces. She is young and beautiful, and is generally shown as sitting on a cot, ready, which is itself the reclining deity Sadashiva. On top of the 4 forms of Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, and Maheshwara, who are the legs of a cot. Her rosy complexion indicates her joy, illumination, and compassion. The mind is her sugarcane bow, and the 5 senses, her arrows, her flower arrows, which under her power of awareness becomes instruments of bliss. Sundari shoots us with the arrows of flowery delight, revealing all the forms of creation as aspects of our own blissful nature of pure consciousness. Her noose indicates her ability to capture her devotees with her beauty and butt nakedness. Her hook cuts off all attachment to outer appearances. The 5 forms of Shiva that she sits on are called the 5 corpses, as they are inert without her energy. They symbolize the 5 elements and the 5-fold act of Shiva. Brahman is the element of earth and the act of creation, and the act Vishnu is water and preservation. Rudra is fire and destruction. Mahasvara is air and the basic ignorance, or active concealment, which allows the world to manifest in consciousness, and the basic ignorance or active concealment which allows the world to manifest in consciousness. Sadashiva is ether and liberation, whereby we transcend the world and whereby the divine withdraws the world into itself. Mantra. Sundari's mantra is famous. The famous Panchadashi, or 15-syllable mantra of Sri Vidya, 15-syllable mantra. It has 3 sections, kutas, each ending with the mantra Hrim, which mantra by itself can be used to invoke Sundari or Lalita. Her mantra has many variations. Ending with the mantra Srim makes it the 16-fold Shodasi mantra. 16-fold mantra, Shodasi. The 15 are said to be the digits of the moon, which waxes and wanes during the lunar month. The 16th is the eternal essence. The 16 are also the 16 vowels of the Sanskrit alphabet. The first set of mantras is said to be the head of the goddess, the second from her neck to her hips, and the third the region below the hips. The first set relates to Vak, the power of speech, the second to Kamaraja, the king of love, and the third to the original Shakti or power of transformation. These 3 sections also relate to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The 3 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, and Sama. The most beautiful. There are many ways to explain this mantra. Whole books have been written on it. Below is a short explanation or examination of its syllables. Is a short explanation of its syllables. Below is a short examination of its syllables. Below is a short examination of its syllables. Relative to the first of the 3 sections of the mantra, Ka. Ka is desire or the creator. Eh or E is Maya or the power of illusion. E or I is Vishnu or the divine ruling power. La is the power of bliss. Relative to the second section, Ha is space or breath. Sa is time. Ka again is creation, and Ha is breath or spirit renewed in energy. La again is bliss. Relative to the third section, Sa is time as eternity or totality. Ka is origin and also the unknown. La again is bliss and more bliss and even blissfully bliss. Cream, repeated 3 times, brings about a triple transformation of our nature. Shreem, added at the end, is the crowning glory and realization. Shreem, realization. As Bala, a beautiful girl of 16, Sundari is revered by the mantra, I'm Klim Soy. Aim is the power of wisdom. Klim is the power of beauty and delight. Soy or Sao is the power of transformation and transcendence. The seer of Sundari's mantra is Shiva Dakshinamurti, the silent sage of 16 years of age who, seated below the sacred fig tree, teaches his disciples, many of whom are old men, and clears all their doubts without uttering a word. He represents the highest spiritual knowledge and thus affirms the inner meaning of Sundari as the bliss of self-realization. He is the form of Shiva who rules the Shri Chakra. The Shri Chakra itself can be used as a yantra for recognizing Sundari, or any of the Dasha Mahavidya 10 wisdom goddesses, or any of the Dasha wisdom goddesses, or the specific Sundari yantra can be employed. Shiva Dakshinamurti should be followed by all those who seek initiation into this mantra or into any mantras. He holds the key to all wisdom, both mantric and meditation. If one does not have a guru, one can initiate oneself into a mantra with Dakshinamurti in mind. If the aspirant is sincere, Dakshinamurti himself will energize the mantra for him. Sundari is the feminine of Sundara, the bliss form of Shiva. Sundara is Shiva as the wooer of the goddess Parvati, the daughter of the mountain. Wherever there is Shiva or peace, there must be Sundara or beauty. Similarly, wherever there is Sundari or beauty of perception, there must be Shiva or peace of mind, beauty of perception, peace of mind. Meditation approaches. To be aware of the divine beauty in all things is the way to approach Sundari. To be aware of the divine beauty in all things is the way to approach Sundari. This requires we purify our perception. To cleanse the mind of thought and to merge the seer into the seen is her way of knowledge. To merge the seer into the seen is her way of knowledge. The highest acknowledgement of Sundari is to abide in the self, to be who we really are, the self of the entire universe, And abiding in our true nature is the vision of all the universe as Brahman. When the seer, fire, or Ajni, unites with the seen, Soma, or moon, nectar, beauty of the moon nectar, luminous, beauty of the moon nectar, then the essence or nectar of the seen comes out as bliss. This is the yoga of Sundari. The main method for this is self-inquiry or Atma Vichara, whereby we trace the root of the I thought to its origin in the consciousness of the universal self. Then we come to experience that all things are not different from ourselves, and in that experience we find supreme delight. Another important way to activate Sundari is to meditate upon the great sayings, MAHAVIDYA of Vedanta. It is one thing to merely think about these statements. One might also fill them with one's entire being. They are great attitudes to be cultivated. Words from Spiritual Secrets of Ayurveda by Dr. David Frawley.